first things first, I mean, we've read masses of it. We saw it last night. The great, the good, and everybody are retweeting what Her Majesty actually said in that note. But one step back, Charles, how significant is it that Her Majesty has anointed Camilla Queen Consort in waiting?
Well, it's hugely significant, Alistair. I mean, it is completing the rehabilitation of Camilla Parker Bowles. Remember, this is a woman who at one time was the most hated woman in Britain and was regarded as a marriage wrecker and famously the third person in a marriage, which got terribly crowded. Now, we have to go back 17 years to that wedding at Windsor where Charles and Camilla married, and there was two huge controversies at that time. One was, what would she be called then? Princess of Wales? Well, she technically is the Princess of Wales, but they decided not to use that title for obvious reasons. Diana had died 8 years beforehand. And so they used the title Duchess of Cornwall. The second one was, would she one day be queen? At that time, public opinion was dead against the fact that she would be called queen at the time that Charles was got to the throne. And so royal aides came up with a plan, a PR job, in effect, to do a snow job on members of the public. They got rid of the title Queen Consort and came up with this ludicrous title of Princess Consort. We don't have a Princess Consort in this country, and I'm pretty sure it would have taken an act of Parliament to change it. So we move along, and Camilla has worked very, very hard. She's now one of the most loyal and devoted advisors to the Queen, and it is fantastic that the Queen last night gave her seal of approval to Camilla becoming Queen Consort. She would never have been anything else, in my view. She was always going to be Queen. It's that simple.
Crucial point within that analysis, Charles. Would it have been Her Majesty's decision? You mentioned the advice and guidance from courtiers earlier on, but this is such a big deal that either the public will buy into or won't buy into. Would it have been Her Majesty's own personal decision?
Absolutely. There's no question in my mind that Her Majesty wanted to smooth the path, because if she hadn't done, it would have been left to Charles on the day of him being king to say to the public, oh, this is my queen. And it could have led to some sort of, and I'm not saying rebellion, that's ludicrous to suggest that, but, you know, some disquiet, because there's still a great deal of affection for Diana. But I think that this has taken it out of Charles's hands. She's made it her sincere wish, and she's actually asked the public to sort of show them the same loyalty, support that they have given her over 70 years. So
absolutely.
And
the choice of language speaks volumes of the subtlety and genius of this elderly lady. It is my sincere wish, not it will be so decreed.
Now, who is going to challenge this sincerely? Is it going to be Parliament? No, not. And is it going to be members of the public? I think there will be some controversy, when Charles does become king and therefore Queen Camilla. But I think it's been dissipated by the fact that Queen herself has said, this is my sincere wish. This is what I want to happen. And as I said, nobody's going to challenge it. Nobody's going to challenge it.
One of the things I find intriguing is the role that charity plays in the evolution of the royal family and individuals within it. I mean, I actually first met Camilla through the Royal British Legion. Very predictable. They do that, they like it, and it's right and proper they do. Next time I rubbed shoulders with her was with the Ebony Horse Club in East London, and a bunch of kids from ethnic minorities and what have you. She's also been on radio talking about domestic abuse. I mean,
yes,
this woman is redefining the royal role.
Well, she is, but let's not forget other members of the royal family get involved in controversial subjects. You know, let's not forget Princess Diana when she championed AIDS and everything else. So they do get involved in these sort of things, and some of them are not polite issues, like domestic violence with Camilla. So and I'm not suggesting she commits domestic violence, by the way. She's a big supporter of finding help for people like that. And it's something that members of the royal family do because their involvement with a particular charity, as you well know, Alistair, you get that sort of celebrity status with the charity, and it helps bring in the cash that they desperately need to continue the very, very good work that they do.
And very good it is indeed. We've got about 3 minutes left, Charles. Duke of York, all over the papers. There will be an on-camera interview giving evidence in March.
Yeah, there will be. I'm not so sure that we'll actually see the result of that on-camera interview because it's a deposition. Now, March the 10th is the day in which the two lawyers, now one of them is David Boys, who is regarded as a shark in terms of being a lawyer. He is a superb litigator. Now, he's flying over with Sigrid Macaulay, and these are the lawyers for Virginia Giuffre, the girl who's made these allegations against the Prince Andrew. And he is going to have to face those two in a room over 2 days at a secret location. And they will go through everything. They'll want to question him over the sweating, the party at Pizza Express, and that picture, that devastating picture of his arm around a woman who he says he has no recollection of meeting. Now, the deposition will take 2 days. And as I understand it, his British lawyers here are currently going through things with him to try to make sure that he doesn't have a car crash interview as he did with Emily Maitlis on Newsnight. But they'll go through everything. Its private life will be laid bare, stripped to the core.
And what happens next? I mean, is that dictated by what is in that deposition, or do we already know that the deposition will take place, then other things will be heard, and then there'll be a court case? Or is it, as you, when we last talked about it, you said there will be various get-out points where one side blinks or the other?
Well, that's still possible because we could still have a settlement of some stage of this case before it got to court. Remember, as I told you before, 97% of civil actions in the States get settled out of court. Now we've got his deposition. Virginia Giuffre has still got to make her deposition. They'll take those, that's by Andrew's team, so I'm assuming they'll have to either go over to where she lives in Australia or whether they do it via a video link. So once you've got the depositions, the court case is set down for late September, beginning of October. If we get that far, then the case will happen. And I'm assuming that Prince Andrew, if the case does go that far, will have to make another appearance via video link, because I doubt very much he's going to go to the States.